Moscow is elated that Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk have capitulated. They have waved the white flag. Marco Rubio is just the little cherry on top. He looks like an absolute hostage. Pumps, what more reporting do you have on this?
It's interesting to find out that all of these national security Republicans are now aligned with the Kremlin insofar as look at what the Moscow Times is reporting. The Kremlin says U.S. foreign policy shift aligns with its own vision. Did you ever in a million years think that there would be a story in the Moscow Times that says the U.S. policy and the Russia policy aligns, but under Donald Trump's administration, that's what you get?
This is a slap in the face to everybody that has ever served in any armed forces in the United States of America. This is a slap in the face to all of us that work hard and pay our taxes and expect for our leaders to align with the democratic powers of the world like we have for the last 80 years since we barnstormed the beaches at Normandy. This is a disgrace. The MAGA party is a pro-Russian, pro-oligarchy, taxpayer funded billionaire. Hey, you're not born here. That's fine. Pay $5 million, come in here, and then we'll subsidize you to make sure you're even richer. This is the biggest thievery on the planet. They're giving our military to Vladimir Putin, whose country is number one right now, poor, number two, depleted militarily. And then we're going to start just giving anybody, you have $5 million, come in. We'll make sure we subsidize the rest of the way for you to be as rich as you want to be. And guess who's going to pay for it? Hardworking Americans. All of the working class people that voted for Donald Trump, they're going to get screwed the most.
Absolutely they are, because they're, number one, their taxes are going to go up, their benefits are going up, they're losing their jobs. And people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they have frailty to one person, Putin and money. That's it. That's the list. One thing that has been a positive sign is how Europe has united around Ukraine and against Trump and the regime of Putin. Here we go is just a little clip from 60 Minutes regarding the meeting they had after Trump's meeting with Zelensky, the European leaders with Zelensky.
Good with Zelensky. In London, a flash summit was arranged with leaders including those of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the head of NATO, and the British Prime Minister, who announced new negotiations by Britain and France, potentially taking the lead for peace out of the hands of President Trump.
All right. I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
First of all, what a bozo. But isn't it funny, people on the outside looking in, they can see it as clear as day. And I really wonder how Fox News is selling an alliance with Russia to the Reagan Republicans, the boomers.
Here's what I have to say. Rupert Murdoch, you have made billions of dollars off of a country that you weren't born in, that you were able to come in and set up a business, and you have poisoned and indoctrinated millions of Americans, and you're going to sit there and let the chief of Fox News still peddle this bullshit and hand our country over to Vladimir Putin. You are sick. You are a coward. It is disgraceful. The fact that the American public is standing for an Australian man who's come over here and grifted off the American public, indoctrinated, turned about 40% of our citizens into a downright crazy, cruel cult. And then we allow Elon Musk to come over here and be this welfare queen. And the Democrats have got to start messaging this. It is insane. I have friends that live in Europe that are messaging me right now that are mortified. They are absolutely mortified and heartbroken. But you know what? Nobody likes the United States right now. And I have a message for all of our international listeners. There are tens of millions of Americans who cannot stand this guy, who hate this. We're sick to our stomach. The reason Pumps and I are cranking out 2 episodes a day is we're trying to message to people out there to say, you are not alone. What you're seeing is really happening. It is insane. It is criminal. It is a coup. And I think this is a Russian coup. I think that this is a Russian coup. I think Donald Trump is compromised. I think the fix is in. And the very next thing they're going to fix are the elections. And Putin will show them how to do it.
Right. Because doesn't Putin win elections every year by like an overwhelming majority? Or every time he has an election in Russia, he just wins?
Yes, they're rigged.
They're totally rigged.
Right.
So, I mean, who's to say Elon Musk, with all his power and access to all of our data, he's not capable of that with all his big balls and all his other.
Well, there is two companies called Election Alliance and then somebody else, Smart something, and they have studied all of the swing states and they have found some abnormal voting patterns, and what at the end of it is called a Russian tail, and it's the exact same thing at the end of when they do a bell curve that you see in Russia. I think extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, but do I think that Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump would rig the election? 100%, I think they would. And I think this whole hope that we're going to get to midterms is an absolute pipe dream. It is not going to happen unless the Democrats in the Senate and the House start pressuring some Republicans to get these people out of office. The reason why they're firing generals and firing anybody with integrity is because autocrats don't leave power.
Right.
They will not transfer it. And so the Republicans have already capitulated. The Trump administration has capitulated to Russia, and we're basically on the precipice of completely falling off a cliff.
And isn't it interesting? I know we continue to talk about it, but Democratic leadership is not saying Putin is a murderous dictator. He has invaded Ukraine illegally. The entire world sees it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are part of Putin's plan for world domination. Why aren't they saying that all day, every day, instead of, like we talked about early, like running around milk toast? We don't need to be nuanced. We need to meet people where they are. Where people are is fed up that you will not stand up and scream and yell.
Well, you know what will win elections? Authenticity.
That's right.
Total authenticity will win an election. And seeing that you give a damn, seeing that you care, seeing that you'll fight, and also branding MAGA for what they are. MAGA has, and the Republicans at large have for years scapegoated Democratic ideas and gotten them scared of less than 1% of the population, which is trans people, scared of all of these immigrants, when the real immigrants that have caused us a lot of problems are Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk. And we have facts on our side, and the fact that these Democrats can't get out there and fight, and some do, but in general, I don't know if they're a part of it or what the problem is, because this is a historical moment. This is a massive realignment where we are going to be with the axis of evil. And I guarantee you, Democrats, when you go to really, really red towns and you tell them that they are funding Elon Musk, and he's going to take away their Social Security, their Medicare, their Medicaid, and they want to form an alliance with Putin, and you really start spelling it out, and you spell out the corporate greed, here's who the Democrats need to talk to instead of, scrambling the jets and circling back. Go talk to a lawyer in a small town that sues an insurance company.
Right.
Who does voir dire with a jury. Everybody's been fucked over by a corporation in America. Everybody has. In late stage capitalism, everybody has seen the greed. And there is a message here that the Democrats can latch onto. But I'm beginning to believe that up at the top, when you get to Schumer and Jeffries, that they are just as beholden to corporations as the Republicans are, because this is a moment in history for them to stand up and go absolutely bananas over what is happening. So the Democrats have chosen Alyssa Slotkin to give the speech after the State of the Union. She's voted for 8 to 10 of Trump's crackhead cabinet officials. She is completely beholden to corporations. This is your response? This is the Democrat you're trotting out? It should be Chris Murphy. It should be Bernie Sanders. It should be somebody who's not beholden to anybody except the Constitution. This is a disgrace. This is despicable. I am fed up to my eyeballs with Democratic leadership over that pick.
It's poor leadership across the board. There's not just one thing you can pick out that's poor leadership. It's so many things. How tepid the response has been. It shows me a real lack of leadership. Here we've got Chris Murphy fighting the good fight. speaking.
Marco Rubio was there. He didn't participate in the conversation, but he was with the national security advisor when they asked Zelensky to leave the White House after that blow-up. And he has been very supportive of what happened in that meeting. You voted to approve his nomination to be Secretary of State. You still think you made the right choice?
Nope, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I think a lot of us thought that Marco Rubio was going to stand up to Donald Trump on an issue like this, that when Donald Trump decided to align America with dictatorships, again, in order to make it easier for him to steal from the American people, to turn America into an illiberal democracy in which, just like Russia, the oligarchs, the economically powerful people in America rule and the rest of us just feed the powerful. I thought when Donald Trump decided to do that, when Donald Trump would come to him and say, help me move America closer to Russia and to Russian values, Marco Rubio would stand up to him. Marco Rubio has not, and that's been a great disappointment to many of his former colleagues in the Senate.
You have been.
Here's the deal. Every single piece of legislation, every nomination, anything, whether it's to everybody go take a water break at 5 minutes, the Democrats in both houses need to say, fuck you, we're not doing it, we're standing firm, we'll filibuster until our heads fall off, whatever it is, stand outside the steps of the Capitol saying, this is a kleptocracy, they are screwing you, they are taking away. We need Chris Murphy energy combined with Jasmine Crockett energy all day, every day, and not one Democrat should vote anything. Like if I hear a Democrat say, we're working on bipartisan issues, I might jump off a cliff because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You cannot work with bipartisan leaders when they are voting and aligning with Russia.
And I think that it's safe to say Europe sees it.
Yeah,
Putin is on
absolutely.
the inside of the American government now. Chris Murphy sees it, and there are other people that see it. And if Chuck Schumer can't step up to this moment and be a Democratic leader of this moment, he needs to step aside, and Chris Murphy needs to do it because history is watching. The world is watching. Europe is watching. And more than anything, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans are watching, even the people who don't know better, who've been indoctrinated because you let this crazy ass news channel go out and present stuff as fact when it's not fact, like Fox News that has done decades-long damage and rotted the brains of so many people. This is a moment where you have some people that are playing one game, and that's who I say Chuck Schumer and Jeffries are playing one game. And then you've got MAGA who's playing a completely different game. And I always go back to this. A bunch of Democrats clutched their pearls when Biden pardoned his son. And you and I immediately on the record said, good for him. He should have done it. But think about this, viewer. Biden knows. He knows how compromised Trump is by Vladimir Putin. He knows. Kamala Harris knows. Hillary Clinton knows. They have security clearance that none of us could ever dream of having. He pardoned his son immediately because he knew the fix is in. And the next thing they're going to do is come for our elections. The main thing here is most of this is on the Republicans because none of them have any sort of moral clarity to step in and say we're not handing our country over to Europe. But the Democrats have got to have a unified message, just like Pump said, fuck you, fuck no, we're not playing this game.
Well, another uplifting pro-democracy day in Trumpville.
All right, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 1 million viewers, and we will see you all later.